Hello and welcome to another educational video. For today's topic, we will be discussing what is the Women-Owned Small Business Program. Hello and welcome back. Once again, for today's topic, we will be discussing what is the Women-Owned Small Business Program. I'm your host, Jamie White, and let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you like these educational videos that we do, feel free to stop by our website, www.suppliertynews.com, and go ahead and subscribe. The first month is only 99 cents, and then after that, it's $5.99 a month. In addition, if you like what we're doing, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, like the video, share with anyone that you may think may be interested in this information, and then go ahead and leave a comment. Okay, now to start for today's topic, what is a women-owned small business program? We first have to talk about what is a small business. Now, the Women-Owned Small Business Program, or WOSB for short, is a program that falls under the Small Business Administration. Now, I've been kind of doing a series along the Small Business Administration programs. This falls into that category. The last few ones that I've done are the 8A program and the Hub Zone programs, so definitely take a look at those. And in each of those videos, I've started with the definition of a small business, because in order to qualify for those programs, you first have to be a small business. So, as you can see, and a small business within the United States, let me clarify that. Now, as you can see, a small business is a privately owned company that is defined as small by various government standards. For the Small Business Administration, or SBA, the SBA determines a small business based on the North American Industry Classification System, or NAICS codes. So, basically, this is a 6-digit code where, depending on the industry, you can be defined as a small business either by revenue receipts or by the number of employees. Small business certifications. So as you can see here, we have a short list of some of the certifications you can get as a small business. But for today's topic, as you can see highlighted in bold, we will be discussing the WOSB as well as the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business as well. Those two kind of fall in the same bucket. When I was looking up the program for WOSB, they also mentioned how you can qualify as an economically disadvantaged women-owned small business as well. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that today. The program. Now, with each of these programs, there is a target goal of a floor that the Small Business Administration wants to give out to when it comes to percentage of federal contracting. As you can see with women-owned small business, it is at least 5%. Now that's a little bit different than Hub Zone, which is around 3%, and I believe 8A is also 5% as well. But as you can see, just a percentage goal to focus on various types of small businesses through the Small Business Administration. Now, to help level the playing field for women-owned businesses, the government limits competition for certain contracts, right? And this is pretty standard for all of their programs. These contracts are industries where women-owned small businesses are underrepresented. Now, I've left and I'll go ahead and I'll leave a link in the description as well, but essentially a link that shows you the qualifying NAICS codes. It is a pretty long list, so if you're definitely a woman-owned small business, I would go ahead and say check it out. As you can see, some contracts are further restricted to economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses as well. So if you are a woman-owned small business and you qualify for this program, you can definitely go out to bid for opportunities in these various categories and have a leg up, if you will. Doesn't necessarily mean that you'll win it, but you do get some points to help you when you're challenging for these different types of contracts. Okay, women-owned small business requirements. So a couple of different requirements. This one was actually pretty interesting. I haven't necessarily seen these specific requirements when it comes to like the amount of money you make slash your net worth. So we'll get into it here right now. To first start, obviously, a couple of things. You have to be a small business. You have to be 51% owned by a woman who is a U.S. citizen, and you have to have women managing the day-to-day operations and also make the long-term decisions. So that's pretty standard when it comes to any type of small or diverse business. Like that's just standard. Now, the next one up, which is very interesting, is to qualify as an economically disadvantaged business within the Women's Contracting Program. You have to meet all the requirements of the Women's Contracting Program. So, be a small business, 51% owned, etc. You have to be owned. Here we go. That's the interesting part. You have to be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with a personal net worth less than $750,000. Be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with $350,000 or less in adjusted gross income averaged over the previous 3 years, and then be owned and controlled by one or more women, each $6 million or less in personal assets. So this is something that I haven't seen before in the past. So it's pretty interesting. They're putting in this many types of restrictions in order to make sure that they're really focusing in on women who are, economically disadvantaged, if you will. Now, someone may look at this and say, well, is it really economically disadvantaged if you're $3 million in personal assets, or you have a personal net worth of $500,000? I believe when it comes to federal government contracting, so kind of what those are worth and how you can grow, I do believe that's that's pretty necessary as a person who's owned their own small business. When it comes to things such as like net worth, it gets, net worth is always a little bit tricky because you have to understand that net worth is not cash on hand, right? So you can be $1 million, you could be worth a net worth of $1 million, but be broke. That is not uncommon. So to have that net worth, generally what that means is, and I'm just speculating here, 100% speculating. Generally what that most likely means is that, when it comes to like, if you own, let's say 60% of a business and you guys are making $1 million, for example, well then theoretically your net worth would be, $600,000, even though that's not really your cash on hand, and we're not accounting for like, liabilities, but just making it simple, your net profit, we'll say is $1 million, then 600,000 is your net worth, but again, you don't see that cash on hand. You might only make 50 to 100,000. So that's relatively small in the grand scheme of things, and that really allows you to qualify for this so that you can increase the amount of money that you're making, and hopefully your net worth at the end of the day, so that you can be successful. So this is, while those numbers may seem big to the average person, it's not. Again, that net worth versus your personal income are two completely different things, and when we're talking about the types of dollars you can make through federal government contracting, like those are pretty small. Okay, so there is an upcoming change that is going to happen this summer. Now, I do want to point out that due to the issues that we're facing today, I don't want to, while I'm not being, not really making, doing any type of monetization on my videos, I still don't want to, I want to make sure that this isn't taken down or anything. But the upcoming changes that are supposed to happen in the summer, but again, due to the situation going on now, I don't know. This may get pushed out. This may change. But currently, right now, today, as I'm releasing this is what's being enacted. So in the summer of 2020, the certification process for WOSB and economically disadvantaged WOSB will change as put forth by Congress in the 2015 National Defense Authorization Act. So basically, the SBA, the big piece here, which will be the requirements will be published June 30th, 2020. and effective 30 days later, is that you will no longer be able to self-certify as a woman-owned small business or economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. In order to qualify, you will have to either certify through an approved third-party entity or go through SBA's free online certification at certified.sba.gov. So no longer will you simply just be able to, basically come in and say, yes, I'm a woman-owned small business. You have to have someone who basically verifies that. So a little bit of an extra step for women versus in the past. Also a little bit different than the other programs. This may be because with HubZone and 8A, those are pretty simple to certify, simply because you just have to look at where your location is, more or less, either your location or what your net worth is. Pretty much with women-owned small businesses, I'm guessing it's a little bit trickier, simply because you're trying to figure out who controls that operations. So you may need someone to verify that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something similar for like veterans. We'll see. I haven't looked at that program just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. So what are the third-party certification organizations that can help you get certified? As you can see, there are 4 organizations approved by the SBA today to provide third-party certifications. These include the El Paso Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, National Women Business Owners Corporation, U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce, and then the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. You need to provide proof of your third-party certification through certified.sba.gov. It's probably the digital certification. And then the SBA also accepts a current valid 8A certification. So if you qualify for another program, you can also use that to qualify for this program as well, which is actually pretty good. If you can be an 8A, imagine if you're an 8A HubZone and woman-owned small business. I mean, that's about 13% of contracting, federal contracting dollars that you could potentially win in the span of an 8-year period. So that's pretty good. I also want to note, simply because the 8A program does have a timeline of around 8 to 9 years. So the women-owned small business program, as long as you qualify for those, net worth and whatnot, you can consistently qualify. Obviously, when you win these contracts and you're above that, then you may not necessarily qualify. But if you can, I guess if you start out like that, you can. There's a huge opportunity if you are in all three programs. But with that being said, definitely want to thank you so much for joining us today and learning a little bit more about the Women-Owned Small Business Program and the Economically Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Business Program. If you like what we're doing, once again, go ahead and follow us both on suppliertynews.com and at our social media. As you can see, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Medium, and LinkedIn. Go ahead and click on the YouTube channel, give us a subscribe, like the video, share, and comment if you will. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.